Welcome to Beyond the Velvet Rope with Neal Oates Jr., the podcast that takes you on an extraordinary journey into the world of luxury service. Join us as we unlock the secrets, stories, and strategies behind exceptional experiences. From anticipating VIP needs to crafting unforgettable memories, we'll guide you on a path to service excellence in the realm of the affluent. Let's elevate your expertise and redefine the art of world-renowned service. Here's your host, Neal Oates Jr.
Welcome to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Today's guest is a builder of bold brands, a voice for purpose-driven entrepreneurship, and living proof that your past doesn't disqualify you, it prepares you. After serving 7 years in prison by the age of 24, Kenny Donnell walked out with no blueprint, just a belief that redemption is real. Since then, Kenny's built multiple million-dollar companies, co-owns the largest minority-owned real estate brokerage in Texas, and leads multiple ventures that pour back into underserved communities. He's the creator of the One Idea Challenge, founder of Exposure Experts, and the author of From Employee to Boss. And today, Kenny Donnell is here to help you turn your story into strategy, your gift into income, and your idea into real impact, something that I'm excited about. Welcome Beyond the Velvet Rope, Mr. Kenny Donnell. How are you doing, sir?
Good, I'm good. Thank you, Neil. Man, that intro is fire. I don't know who put that together, but that's
Don't worry. You can send me some royalties and some credit for it. I will take that all day, every day. You'll know how to get the payment over to me. But Kenny, here's what I want to do. I know I said some things about you in the intro, but my audience, they want to know those things that maybe weren't listed. What's something that just starting out that you might want to share with us so that we can really get to know who Mr. Kenny Donnell is?
Man, there's so many levels. I like to say I'm a mixed diversity of thought and individualism, right? Some things that aren't on the bio. Now we may lose some people with this because I may lose my card a little bit. I love country music. Okay, I'm also R&B, old school rap. Like, we invented this rap thing, So I'm on that side too, but I love country music. I love
Now, Kenny, hold on. We're going to stop right there because I'm originally from Alabama, so I was born and bred and raised on country music. Now, I have a question for you.
Okay.
When you say you love country music, is it the traditional country? Is it this new country where you've got Jelly Roll, Shabuzi, or is it all country? So come on, we're going deep into the good stuff today, sir.
Then let's get into it. My favorite is the old school country. Now, old school, I'm talking about your Tim McGraw's, right?
You mean old school?
I mean old school, right? That's my favorite. But there are some artists today that are around that I do like. Like I went and saw oh my gosh, I just went to Houston and saw him. That's a shame. It's gonna come back to me. This is an old age kicking in.
Hey, wait. Speaking of age, so Morgan Wallen. But hold on. Speaking of age, today is your 3rd birthday, sir. Come on, let's get it.
I need some balloons falling down or something. I've been fielding text messages and emails and thank you notes, and I try to respond to everybody. But yeah, today is my 3rd, and what better way to celebrate it than to be in front of you and your audience? Even though I know we'll play it later, but what best way to celebrate it is to be here today.
So I do want to say on behalf of the audience, happy birthday to you and thank you for sharing this, because today being a birthday, I believe that when our audience, when the listeners or viewers watch or hear this, it might be a rebirth for them. Maybe some things that have died or that they haven't birthed. You're going to be a proud papa today, right? You're going to be giving birth to ideas, maybe to some inspiration. And so I don't take that lightly, and I know our audience doesn't either. And so it's an exciting time. But country music, and here's why. So traditional music, you do like some of the newer artists. Let's just get into it. Why does that music, understanding that you appreciate everything else, but what is it about the country music that says, hey, Kenny, it whispers your name. It has that place in your heart. Could you share that with the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. Because see, underneath all this hardcore dexterity right here is I'm a poet at heart, man.
Come on, sir.
grew up writing poems. I like poetry. So when I hear songs that can tell a story through the element of poetry, it always connects with me. And I think country is one genre that does a really good job of taking that and putting it into a musical piece that shows a story through words. Now we have other pieces that have done that, and we did a good job. I think we do a good job in the old school rap, right? That could weave a story and show it to you to a beat. But I think country does a really good job of doing that.
Now, let me ask you, because you mentioned early on, one of the first things you said when you open your mouth, you said, I may lose some people with this part. Now, you being a minority, liking or loving country, has that ever caused you to say, well, maybe I can't express myself fully? Because we'll talk about some of the challenges and some decisions you made, or maybe the environments that you were in. Have you always been able, someone who loves poetry, who loves the storytelling, were you able to share that openly and honestly and freely? And did that impact decisions you made or where you found yourself at an early age?
In my youth, no. So when in my 13, 14, 15, absolutely not. No, nope, not talking about it, not diving into it. I got into for me, it was fortunately a younger age. I still got into my mid-20s and got to the point through a series of events where I started to realize people's opinions don't matter,
Come on, sir.
right? They gonna have them, and they have the right to them. But what you decide to intake and allow to affect you is what will transition and move you either to a level of achieving your goals, desires, and dreams, or hold you hostage because you're allowing those words and people's opinions to stifle you. But
Mhm.
when I was younger, yeah, man, it was all about fitting in. It was not about standing out. It was all about going with the flow, making sure you was one of the cool kids. And I was not one of the cool kids by any stretch of imagination, but I was in the middle, right? But making sure you fit in, standing out was not a thing at that point.
So I look at you now, and first, I'm honored to be having this conversation with you because of one, being brothers, of course, but then also looking at what you've done and what you've overcome. But you talk about fitting in, right? Hey, get into the fold, get into the flock. You are doing anything but that now. You are standing out in such a positive way. Has that been a dream? Was that the goal? We mentioned in the intro about that 7 years, but before we get there, do you recognize now that you are standing out in a big way, that you are not part of the mediocre many, that you really have joined the ranks of the elite few? Has that set in with you yet, Kenny?
No, no, and I don't think it ever will because I know my humanity,
Ooh,
right?
boy, you know where those skeletons are,
I,
don't you,
I
sir?
know what the skeletons are. People might see the suit, and I'm sitting in this beautiful office, and they the ride, and they see all that. I know the reality. I know the humanity. I know the person who has gone through the challenges and the struggles and continues to deal with adversity every single day. And I am not immune to any of it. Right? It surpasses social class, financial. I don't care how big your bank account is. I don't care how incredible you believe you are. It surpasses all of that. Humanity and dealing with life touches everybody.
Yeah.
You go through so much. Hopefully, you go through so much. No, I shouldn't say hopefully you go through so much in your life, but I've gone through so much in my life where I realize I am no better than the person that is on the sidewalk struggling, and I'm no less than the person getting on a private jet flying to New Orleans to have dinner just to fly back tonight.
Now hold on. Now that was a very specific example. Are those your birthday plans? I'm just asking. Are you flying to New Orleans tonight just for dinner, Kenny?
I'm not flying to New Orleans tonight. I'm just pulling on some past experiences.
Okay, see, listen, ladies and gentlemen, here on Beyond the Velvet Rope, we pick up what people put down. So when Kenny says, I'm no less than this person right here, he's like, man, when I look in the mirror, I know that I went to New Orleans just for dinner. I love it, man.
Well,
So Kenny,
you good, man. You
man,
ain't letting nothing slide.
Man, I want to give the people what they need, even if they don't know they need it, right? We need to hear our guys, our people, our family talk that talk. And so much of your talk is authentic, and we're going to go there now if you're okay with it. But what would you say to that person who is being touched by humanity at this moment as they're listening to this podcast and they're saying, if I don't get something from Kenny and Neal today, I think I push all my chips in. I think it's over. I think I'm done. I'm at the end of my rope. That's the last straw. What do you say to that person who's listening or looking or hoping or praying or asking and screaming and begging for something? Because while not knowing everything, I would dare say that you can resonate with that person. You can identify. What do you say to them today?
I say, hold on. That's what I tell them. Like, I know that they right now can't absorb any more than that. So I'm going to tell you to hold on. Now, let me explain what that means. If you think about it, 24 hours ago, somewhere in the middle of your past few hours, it was nighttime. And then the sun came up and you made it through last night. So I need you just to hold on, because tonight is going to come and it may be dark and it may be troublesome and you may be weary and there may not be a vision for what the next day looks like. And I don't
Let's
need
go,
you to worry
sir.
about the next day. Just make it through tonight. And then tomorrow, look at the sun. And I want you to realize that you did make it through. And then let's do that again and do that again. And time and distance is what heals, hurts, pains, challenges. We got to work through the emotion side of it, because emotions is going to tell us to do a lot of things. Emotions is going to drive us through a lot of different roads. And not every one of those roads are going to be good paths. But once we work through that and we get to a place where we can see clearer, we can start making better decisions. So right now, I just need you to hold on.
Just hold on. So one of my mentors would always tell me, you can quit, just not today. And then when tomorrow comes, you know what he would say to me? You can quit, just not today. And then I was like, hold on, champ. I said, I see what you're doing here. Today is always today, and I can quit tomorrow, but I never make it to tomorrow because tomorrow becomes today. And he was like, aha, you've got it. So you can quit, just not today. And so now let's add to some of this validity why Mr. Kenny Donnell can tell someone just to hold on, because the night is going to pass and the sun is going to come up, but you are not speaking as an intellectual. You are speaking as someone who has experienced this. And so we look at you, we hear you speak, we do our research on Kenny Donnell and the book and the businesses and the prominence, but you had an incredible journey from incarceration to becoming a prominent entrepreneur and community leader. So if you were one or the other, we might just shrug and say, oh yeah, he got lucky. But entrepreneurism is a very big deal. But then to be a leader in the community after some past struggles, can you share how your past experiences have shaped your current mission and the vision that you have, Kenny?
Oh, absolutely. And it's interesting to look back now, because we're 53. We have some history behind that, right? Going through all of this, like I remember when I first got out of prison, and it seemed like there was no future. Right. Now I knew I wanted one. I knew what I didn't want. I didn't want to be back in this situation with someone telling me what to do, how to live, how to where to work, what to wear, all this. I knew what I didn't want. I just didn't know what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And going through trying to figure that out has been a struggle, because can you imagine this, Neal? You get out, you serve this time, and nobody wants to give you a job. McDonald's won't give you a job. Domino's won't give you a job. Right. You put on that little application blank for 7 years and you have to explain that. And no, not doing it. So I stumbled into entrepreneurship because the option was go back or go forward. And going forward meant I needed to figure out how to make some money so that I can continue to move forward and get in a position to try to make some semblance of a life.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was, we've got to figure out a strategy so that we don't move backwards, we continue to move forward. And
So,
that's
so
what
Kenny,
everybody's.
right there, I do want to. So, one thing that I applaud you for, you're sharing this, talking about that 7 year stint, like you lead with it, right? And so I was doing my research and I wanted to make sure it was okay that I mentioned that in the intro. And you're like, Neil, that's a part of who I am. I'm like, I can't hide who I am. A couple of questions. When did you decide that it was okay to share that part of you and your story? Well, was that something that, because remember, early on when you're out trying to survive, I'm sure that wasn't a part of your story that you wanted to lead with. So when did Kenny Donnell become okay with saying, hey, this is who I am and this is what I've been through, but what I've been through doesn't dictate who I am?
The first time, Neil, I actually shared that story was in front of 30,000 men, and that was about 3 years after I was out. And I wasn't planning on sharing it then.
Hold on. So you decided to share. Now we ain't talking about with 3 or 4 brothers, right? We ain't talking about just around a campfire. Kenny said, well, it wasn't supposed to happen this way, but what better platform? Let me just get this thing off my chest. So go ahead and walk us through that, Kenny.
Yeah, so when I ultimately did get into college, I was going through college. I got hired on at a prominent ministry, and we were doing conferences. And this was the first year that they were actually satelliting into prisons in Texas. And I got a phone call. I was there volunteering. I got a phone call from a friend who was on staff who said, "Hey, the bishop wants you to speak tomorrow." And I said, "Okay, about what?" And he was like, "Well, he'll tell you tomorrow. Just be on stage at X amount of time." And so I'm sitting on stage, right? 3 years removed from prison, all of this baggage, right? Still trying to figure out life. And I'm here with dignitaries and people with names and sports athletes and all these people.
Now, hold on, Kenny. Tell people how old you are at this. So you're 3 years removed, and what age are you? Because this would be a big platform for someone who's 53, but you were not 53 at this point. Go ahead and share that with us.
I was 26 years old, and I'm sitting on this stage. Everybody's dressed nice. I'm in my volunteer t-shirt and stuff. And we are satelliting not only into the prisons across Texas, but we're live on TBN. So it's my first large speaking engagement and my first television engagement, right? And he calls me up there and he gives me 5 minutes and he's like, "I just want you to encourage the men," because obviously he knew about my past. "I want you to encourage the men." And I don't even remember what I said. I don't remember what I said. But I just told my story and I encouraged the men, and a lot of people came up after and all these accolades. I would tell the story for about 6 or 7 months after that, and then I stopped telling it. And the reason I stopped telling it is I had nothing else. Right? I didn't want to be known for the guy who went to prison. Like, I didn't want to be known for that, but there was no other part of the story. And so I'm trying to build something from these ashes. And I got tired of telling it because I didn't want people to see me as that in that moment. Because I wasn't proud of it. I was ashamed of it. And I had to go and build some things. So I just started telling the story again about 4 months ago.
Really?
My family knew, my kids knew, but I didn't publicly share it.
So ladies and gentlemen, I want to share this with you all. We are speaking to a man who is transparent, who is vulnerable. But when you hear, and so the beautiful thing is, that's not where the story ends, right? And that's what we're going to get into here. So you tell the story, then you stop. Right. And so we're 26 years old and we're 27. Maybe we've stopped telling the story because you're looking and you say, that, like, if that's the story, that's what defines me. But then you say that you're pushed into entrepreneurship out of pure survival, right? And so if I'm not mistaken, you're selling t-shirts out of the trunk of your car, but now you go on to build several successful ventures. So what does it look like? Because you might have been forced into entrepreneurship, but what did struggle, what did success, what did entrepreneurship reveal to you about yourself, Ken?
You know, it revealed that I could do it. So Neil, I'm gonna let you in on something else. Since this is my birthday,
Hold on, man. Hold on now. Be careful. Now, are you sure you want to share this?
I'm gonna share it. Neil, my very first real estate deal, sales deal, employee hiring was in prison. And let me tell you how it came down. I am in this jail cell, in the county jail, and we're in a holding tank where there's 3 cells and a day room that should hold 6 to 8 people. There's 20 of us in there.
Ooh.
And so there's 6 people in the cells, and all the rest of us in the day room around on beds and on sleeping on tables everywhere. I'm the youngest person in there. I'm in there. I'm scared as all get out because I've never been in a situation like this before. I was a straight A student. I had an engineering scholarship by my sophomore year. So, and I got recruited. So I'm in this situation, and this old guy, I don't even remember his name, he comes up to me and he says, "You not gonna make it." You not gonna make it.
Thanks for the vote of confidence. Thank you, sir.
And I didn't argue with him because I didn't feel like I was gonna make it. And he says, "I'm gonna show you how to survive in here." I said, "Okay." He said, "Now watch these guys make commissaries." In prison, in jail, it was commissary. You could buy stuff off the store, and they buy snacks, cigarettes, back when you could smoke cigarettes and all this stuff. So he's like, "Watch what people buy." They bought it on Wednesday. By Friday, they were out. They buy it again on Saturday. He said, "Now I want you to go and buy everything that they would buy from you." So I bought cigarettes and all this stuff. He said, "Now just hold on to it." I held on to it. I bought it on Wednesday. They were out by Thursday. I sold it for double. And the way we made commissary there was, if I gave you a 1 bag of chips, you'd have to go to the store next time and give me 2. Right? So that's what they did. They went and replenished my store. And then he said, "Just hold on to it." I held on to it again. They made store on Saturday. By Monday, they were out. I sold it for double again. He said, "Now I want you to go, and these 4 sales, these 2 sales with these 4 beds, I want you to go make them an offer for them to move out into the day room, offer them chips, smokes, whatever it is, and take over those 2 beds." I said, "Well, why need 4 beds? There's only 2 of us." He said, "Well, the other 2 beds are going to be for those 2 young dudes over there, them big strapping young dudes. You're going to hire them to be your security because you skinny.
Because otherwise you ain't gonna make it. Let's go, sir.
You ain't gonna make it, right?" And so that's what I did, and I learned about understanding that you need to provide a product that the consumer wants, not something that you think is incredible. You got to provide what the consumer wants, and the only way you're going to do that is to watch, pay attention, and understand what the need is, and then present an offer or a solution to that need, and they will pay you no matter what the cost is. They knew they were paying double, but they wanted it so bad, they was willing to pay for it in that moment. I didn't have to sell it. I just needed to offer it. And then you need good people on your team to help you implement the strategy, because there's going to be some distractions. There's going to be some distractors. There's going to be some people that want what you got and are willing to try to destroy you to get it. That comes with the territory. Can't be mad about it.
So expect it. So let's back up. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Donnell is dropping gem after gem, and it's in a single breath, right? So this is how you know this man lives this stuff out. No script in front of him. But here's what I want to ask you. Where does Kenny end up or let me ask, have you thought about where Kenny ends up if old guy, old school doesn't come and say, "Hey, let me show you this"?
No, I haven't thought about it because, 1, I guess maybe I haven't had to think about it. For the first thing, I haven't had to think about it. And 2, the one thing I learned about this journey is God got me.
Come on, brother. I was curious when we were going to get there. Let's go.
God got me. So
even when you don't,
even when I don't know, even when I choose the wrong direction, right? I am quick to say, "Lord, that's me." Like that's me, God. That's my bad. I didn't hear that right. You didn't say that. I decided to do that. I own that. And I tell my daughter, I got 3 daughters, and the oldest one is 25, and she started dating years back. And I told her, I said, "You can't control other people. You can only control decisions you make." Now, if you make a wrong decision, you can't control the consequences. You can only decide what to do after the consequences issue. If I decide to drive and speed and the cop pulls me over, I cannot control whether I get a ticket or not. All I could control was the fact that I either decided not to speed or I decided to speed. But whatever the consequence is, the consequence. So I couldn't control the consequence, but I can control the actions.
Mm-hmm.
And in controlling the actions, I knew that what I wanted and what I didn't want in life, and what I was willing to go through to get it, and what I wasn't willing to go through to get it.
Understood. Kenny, with coming
I don't
off
even know if I
of
answered that question, Neil. I got.
No. So you did answer the question, because there are some things that we're protected from because our Father is looking out even when we're too silly and too ignorant to know.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. How much has your faith, your trust, your belief in God played into the business decisions, the decisions that you make? And I'm going to say, it seems like you just dare to dream and act bigger than what the carnal eye can see. Right. So we look at what you've accomplished from based on what your past experience was. We're like, there's no way he should be able to do this. Has your faith played into that? Let me go bigger than I believe I'm capable of accomplishing myself.
Yeah, because one, Neil, I don't dream. Let me just say this. I
Let's
don't
go.
dream. I got visions, right? So dreaming, and this is where I draw the distinction for me. Dreaming is a state in which you are asleep and not in control.
Ooh,
Vision is when you are awoke and you see a path. You don't see the whole path. And sometimes you might just see the outcome, the ending. But there's a vision in there, and vision calls for action. Dreaming, I ain't got to do nothing dream. I don't even control the dream. But a vision, I can control. A vision, I can put a plan to. A vision, I can set direction on and start walking towards. So I don't do dreams, I do visions. But in that, the one thing that I believe, my God, 100%, is if he shows me a vision, I'm supposed to walk it out.
let's go.
And so if I have enough faith, and all I need is a mustard seed, right? If
Hey, hold on, Kenny say, I might not be able to do a whole mountain of faith, but a mustard seed like this, I think we can find that.
I think we can find that. And so if he gave me a vision, and I used to say when I didn't recognize it was him, if I can see somebody else did it, I know I can do it. Because I realize it's not how much money you have, it's not even how intelligent you are. I know some very dumb rich people, right? It's not even how intelligent you are. It is how tenacious and how much you're willing to sacrifice to go after the thing you believe is yours. So people say to me, or they'll ask me, Kenny, how do you know that you've reached the height that you want to get to? Or some semblance of a question. And I'd say my goal is to die empty. Anything God gives me a vision for, I'm going after it. I'm going to attack it. I'm going to face it. I don't know how to do most of the stuff I've done. I built a construction company. I ain't never did no construction work. I had a renovation, a federal government contract that we did renovation work for the federal government, Air Force bases, Army bases, VA hospitals. I'm not no renovator, right? I don't have this real estate brokerage. I ain't sold a day of real estate,
Come on, sir.
but I got vision and I got God, or God got me.
Come
And
on.
so we're going to walk this thing out and we're going to figure it out along the way. I don't need the parachute. I'll build it on the way down. Let's just jump.
Let's just jump, and knowing that if we don't have the parachute, then he'll hold us in his hand. Let's go, Kenny, man. This is better than anyone could have imagined, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Donnell, you're going to want to make sure you go to the show notes and get all of his contact info. We're going to be sharing that in the show notes for Mr. Kenny Donnell. But you talk about vision, and if I'm not mistaken, one of your visions was this thing called the One Idea Challenge. Would you, and you got a smile on your face. So I'm going to shut up and be a student, sir. Go ahead. Talk to me about this One Idea Challenge.
And the One Idea Challenge is for everybody. It's the same way I wrote this Employee to Boss book. And here's where it was born. I played sports. I played baseball, basketball, football.
Stop, sir. Stop. Come on. Now, did you play sports or were you an athlete?
I was in between.
I told y'all this guy's an honest man. Let's go. Come on.
I knew I wasn't going to pro on none of them, right? And I didn't have a passion for any of them, right? But I enjoyed doing it, but I didn't have a passion for any of them. But there are some athletes, there's some Michael Jordan, some LeBron James that they knew this is what they were born to do. There's some Aretha Franklins, Whitney Houstons, Beyonce's that they knew I was born to sing. The majority of us, we just trying to figure it out. We held probably multiple jobs, multiple companies, multiple positions. Many of us graduated with degrees that we never got a job in. And we're trying to figure out the one idea, you see where I'm going, that can help us start that business to build the lifestyle we crave, we want, we have a vision for. And so my One Idea Challenge is working with individuals to comb through their history because every job you ever had solved somebody's problem or they wouldn't have hired you. I need people to understand that. Every job you had, you were solving a problem, which means you have history in problem solving. And if you can figure out how to package that information that you've learned along this life journey and create an offer to solve someone's problem, they'll pay you for it.
Kenny, man, dude, I see why you I'm not even going to say at the top, because you're going to be like, I'll be like, man, Kenny's at the top. You're like, man, I'm just getting started. At 53, I'm just getting started. So you are dropping nothing but value. So thank you for that. But you mentioned something in there talking about the past, right? And the jobs that we've had and how now it adds value. So I want to quickly pivot. I know you are a man who's always thinking about legacy, right? You're always thinking about not what we've done, but the opportunities that are ahead of us and the groundwork and the framework that we can have for future generations. So you do a lot for underserved communities. We talked about you being one of the community leaders. Besides the obvious, why does the underserved population demographic mean so much to you that you're making that a part of the legacy of Kenny Donnell?
Because I feel like I've lived that life, right? But for the grace go I. My life could have been so different. For a period, it was different. And I don't look at myself and pat myself on the back and say, "Woo, I'm so great, I'm so amazing." No, I stand on the shoulders of a lot of people that took chances and opened doors and advocated for me and cared and ushered me and encouraged me and pushed me. And some tried to hold me back, which is that's okay too, right? Eagles don't hang around with pigeons, but sometimes pigeons try to get up there. So I understand that we're all humanity. Now everybody's not going to be at the top of the game, and some people are never going to make it past the neighborhood they grew up in. And some people are okay with that, and I'm not saying that's bad or good, it's just reality. And there's others that just won't get there for whatever reason. I believe in my heart that part of my calling is to be a blessing to those God moved me to be a blessing to. And
Right.
irrespective of how much money you make, because I know people that made a lot of money that still killed themselves. I know people that looked like everything was amazing and they had it going on and went home every night and still cried in suffering, in loneliness and despair. So it's not the money. It's not the nice house. It's not the clothing. It's we're all dealing with life. So if I can interject into people and sit in this wonderful office and pour into people, or get on social media and pour into people and encourage people and tell them all these great things about what they're capable of, then why can't I walk down the street or go into a community or go into a shelter and do the same thing? It's all humanity, right? And so all I'm doing is speaking to people. I'm just speaking to them where they are.
Good stuff, man. And you talk about pouring and giving back. And one of the ways that you pour into people and you speak to people is through this amazing work, this book called From Employee to Boss. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing wrong with being an employee if that's where you are. And Kenny even talks about in all of his work. So make sure you follow him on all of the social platforms, but it's more of a mindset type deal. So would you just share with the audience the book, where was this birthed from, and then some of the ideas and takeaways? And we're going to encourage you out, purchase the book. You'll be glad that you purchased From Employee to Boss. Kenny, walk us through this thing, man, because this is coming from someone who has moved from employee to boss and is continuing to live out and demonstrate these principles. Go ahead.
Well, Neil, you said it exactly right. People hear employee to boss and they think it's about position, and it's not. It's mindset. It is 100% mindset. I've worked at major corporations where I haven't been the boss, but I've operated in a boss mindset that moved me through this corporation. And so it is owning your space. As a boss, you own the space. Like literally you own the space, and you have responsibility for the care of all the people that are underneath you. So if you're in a corporate space, own your space. They hired you to do a thing. Don't just do that thing. Look at all you can bring to the corporate world, the need, stick with that need solve the problem that you see in front of you, and you become invaluable. So the book helps you shatter the mindset. It shifts you from just thinking on one surface level to looking at things on a bigger spectrum. I had a manager at one of the corporations that used to say, get into a hot air balloon. He said, Kenny, sometimes you got to get into a hot air balloon. And I used to say, Bill, I'm not getting no hot air balloon. Like, man, I'm not doing that. And he's like, no, man, not literally. Like, I need you to step
Hey,
away
hold
from.
on. Hey, Kenny, you had to tell Bill, say, Bill, look, I ain't getting no hot air balloon, brother. I
Not
listen to
getting no
country
hot air
music.
balloon.
That's far enough. I ain't getting no hot air balloon, man.
I got too much life in front of me. I cannot control that situation. But he was talking about stepping away from the day-to-day grind and getting in a higher position, because in a hot air balloon you can see further down the road. You can see more obstacles, you can see more challenges than you can in the midst of the journey. And
Mm-hmm.
so as an employee mindset, all we see as an employee is what's directly in front of us. But if you take on a boss mindset, you'll be able to see further, more vision, more things you can solve, more solutions. You begin to see that there's multiple ways to solve this one problem. There's addition, there's subtraction, and then multiplication, and there's division. It's all math, but it's multiple ways to solve the problem. And so you got to get to that mindset. So the book takes you down the journey of the different parts of how I work through different challenges, people I've worked with, and some of the challenges that they've had and how they came out on the other end. So there's a lot of principles and there's a lot of encouragement through seeing other people's journey. And I just want everybody to know it's possible. It's not about position and title. It's about mindset.
So Kenny, to follow up on that, when we have someone who hears that you started here, you've had some challenges, now you're might be going to New Orleans for dinner, then coming back home on the PJ. Just saying, ladies and gentlemen, someone who has moved through a number of top tier corporations and worked their way through it and came out on top there. Was there a single pivotal moment or decision in, I'm not going to say career, but in your life that significantly impacted your growth and success? Was there that thing, that moment where you said, this I can pin to, that changed so much? Looking back, you could say that was the moment.
The moment for me, quite frankly, and it's not going to be for the majority of your listeners, so I'll give them an example that will help them. But for me, the moment was walking out of that prison and being free. So I, for the first time, understood what it felt like to be a prisoner, right? To be handicapped, not in control of your life, not in control of your situation, not in control of your decisions, disappointment, frustrations, all that stuff. And I had to realize I put myself there. So now I got the option to never put myself in that scenario ever again. What am I going to do with it? And so that is always my driving force. Even when I start a company, or if I'm working for someone in a company, I never lost that mindset that I'm not going to be limited by my mental, because I've been limited by my physical. And the thing that kept me from grabbing on to that physical limitation mentally was I always had a vision for something better. I didn't know what it was, but I knew there was something better. And so that's
Right.
been my driving thing. For people who don't have that devastating, you've been locked up and boom, here it is, right? That thing, that other driver, that other motivator is, you have to get a vision for your life. You have to get something that is important to you, not surface level.
Mm-hmm.
Deep down inside. I do a 7-level deep thing with my clients, and I'll ask them their why. And they always start at surface level, and we go 7 levels deep to identify their real why. Because once you identify what is your real motivator, that's what you hold on to. That's your anchor. That everything you chase in your life, everything you're after in your life, every vision you have for your life is anchored to that why. And no matter how rough it gets, no matter what storms rise, no matter how dark the night, you will not be moved, because you're resting assured in that anchor.
Mm-hmm. Good. Now, you mentioned that many of our audience, they won't have experienced the physical restraint, right, of being locked up. What do you say to that person today who is in that mental prison, right? I know you said that you're going to make sure now that you are never restrained mentally. What do you say to those people, or how do we even know? Maybe this would be the better question. How do we know that we're in a mental prison, that we don't have freedom, that we are being constrained by other people telling us what to do? How do we realize that? What are some things that maybe as a coach, consultant, advisor, that maybe some of your clientele have seen in the past? And then what do we do about it?
The very first and easiest indicator is going to be peace. See,
Go deeper with that piece, sir.
it's going to be peace, right? Now, understand, peace doesn't mean the absence of struggle. That's not what peace means. Peace doesn't mean the absence of challenges, right? We're all promised sunlight and nighttime, which means you're going to experience all the seasons if you live long enough. So you're going to get sun and rain. You're going to get winter and storms. You're going to get floods and droughts. You will get it all. Peace.
Thank you for the encouragement, Kenny.
Listen, let me show you something. These two things my staff got me. His first one says show and cares. And the next one is first of all, no. Second of all, no.
Hey, hold on, Kenny. You say your staff got that for you.
My staff got that for me. Because
they're like, hey, leader, just so we want to remind you.
They've heard me say it so many times in my coaching sessions, because I coach individuals that have started business or want to start businesses, and then the brick wall hits them, the challenge hits them, and then they're like, "Whoa, woe is me," and I got to pull that. No, nobody care. You signed up for this. This is what you said you wanted. Because see, what comes with the private jet, what comes with the 6,000 square foot house, what comes with the Lamborghinis, Ferraris, or Mercedes, or whatever it is all this, right? So this is what you asked for. So in your peace comes from knowing that you have done everything within your control in that day to move forward. So if you don't have peace in your day, you got to identify what's disrupting it. What is stopping you from moving one step forward, one step closer to the thing you're chasing? In the midst of all the challenges, because we all have that. Most people don't know. Neil, I'm about to give your people something else. Most people don't know, for a 10-year stint, I fought kidney cancer. I've had 7 surgeries on my right kidney.
Wow.
7. Every 2 years, I still got to go get tested to make sure nothing else pops up, right? You gonna go through life. What is taking your peace that you can't get done each day? Whether it's the job, whether it's the person you're working with, whatever it is, what is zapping that peace? And if you can't find peace in that place, it might be time to move or make some adjustments. Because sometimes God will make you uncomfortable, not for you to move yet, but so you don't get settled in a place He don't have you staying. So when you
so hold on, Kenny, man, you speak as if, because I mean, you've come across speakers, right? You've come across all the top in whatever their respective fields, and you can tell when someone is saying it and when they are believing it, right? As much as I have, you speak as if you believe this and know this and would push all the chips in and bet on everything you're saying. Is that correct?
100%. 100%. I'm not speaking from, and this goes back to, God, Neil, you're so good. This goes back into why I stopped telling my story, because my story was one dimensional. Yeah, I experienced being locked up, but I hadn't experienced nothing else before that. And remember, I was a teenager when I got locked up. I had nothing else behind that. Now I got so much life, so much life, so many good decisions, so many bad decisions, so many wins, so many losses. And the one thing that is consistent is saying God. He ain't never changed. He has never wavered. He has never been iffy or wish-washy. He's let me be a human. And even in the midst of the wrong turns, God, you told me to go left and I went right. My bad.
That's me.
Yeah, I still got spanked. Like it ain't like he saved me from everything. I still got a spanking, but I'm still living. I'm still living. And if he still has enough grace for you to still be living, that means he still got a mission for you. Now the question is, are you gonna walk it out? Or are you gonna let fear and challenges sway you from what you know you're supposed to be doing, or where you want to go, or where God gave you a vision to do, and you just won't be like Abram, right? He didn't tell Abraham all the challenge he was going to go through. He said, I'm going to make you a man of a great nations, father of many nations. And then he said, go walk this way. He didn't tell him all the
Man,
challenges.
Kenny. Okay, so let me ask you this, because I like to believe. So we have this historical record of God's faithfulness, right? By looking at the Bible and looking at all that, and then we have our personal experience. In my heart, I want to believe that I have what it takes to be Abram. Right? I want to believe that I would get out of the boat if he called me out. But then there's also that humanity piece of me. I'm like, man, he's asking me to give 10%. I'm like, well, 9.5 do, right? I've been blessed with this. And then I start asking, like, do I have to tithe off of a blessing or a gift because I didn't earn it, right? So I want to ask you, do you walk in that direction? If God says, hey, Kenny, just start walking.
Absolutely.
No hesitation.
No hesitation. Absolutely. Well, see, I have the benefit. Remember, I'm 53. Like I got the benefit. So this is for these young folks, young as anything under 53.
So yes, yesterday you were young. Let's
Yes,
go,
I was
man.
young.
Come
That's
on,
what I know.
ladies and
But
gentlemen.
see, I walk out of this office and run into somebody that's 54 and be like, "Boy, you don't know nothing," right? So it's all relative. 100%, you walk, because here's the reality: you're gonna walk anyway, right? If you're blessed to see another day, you're going to walk anyway. So now the question is whether or not you're gonna walk. You're gonna walk. The question is, are you going to walk in the direction that leads you to what you really want? Or are you going to walk into something that feels safe? And the truth is, it's not safe because it looks appealing. It feels appealing. You think it's safe, but a company can walk in and fire you tomorrow. It ain't safe. So stop thinking that something is safe because it's more comfortable to you. I am sure, pick anybody, take David. Take David's journey. He was anointed to be king. Boy, if somebody walked in when I was young and say, "Boy, Kenny, you gonna be king," I'd be like, "Where the crown at? Where my palace at? What you talking about? Go tend some sheep? Is you crazy? I'm about to be king. I'm not tending no sheep, right?" But he had to go through a journey, a process, and many of us don't want that process. But if you're willing to take the process, you can have profit.
Come on, man. So let me ask you this, because I know that my audience, a large part of them are believers, and they believe the word, but then they also believe the world, right? And we know that can't coexist. And so they're going to say, well, Kenny is speaking soundly. He has evidence of being a man of God, of having overcome, of listening to God's word, but he's also very successful in a secular world, right? He is this guy. How do we balance that? Because I am cut from the same cloth as you. I believe that God's children are supposed to show and look like God really loves us and that he owns everything. What do you say to that believer who isn't really sitting down in that faith and understanding that God does want his people to benefit and be an example in every area of their life, and that going into the business realm as well?
So this goes back to the statement you made about the 10%, 9.5 will not have to do with it. The problem is we think we own stuff and we don't. That's the simple problem. We think we own stuff. So when we separate this thing out, talking about secular world, gospel world, it's one world. All this belong to God. It's individuals deciding what they want to do with his stuff. That's the difference. So stop thinking that it's some segmented world. It's not. It's individuals who are deciding what they want to do with God's stuff. And some people are doing godly stuff with it, and some people not doing godly
Come
stuff with
on,
it. And
man.
we're in one world, right? And so you don't own nothing. None of this. You are a steward. meaning you have been given a responsibility to take care of something that does not belong to you, and we act like it's ours. So anything I got ain't mine. I have been stewarded over what I have. I've been stewarding over the people that I'm responsible for. I've been steward over whatever people that follow me on social media. None of these people belong to me. None of this stuff is mine. None of these likes are mine. None of this stuff is mine. And when you start understanding that it ain't yours, then you start realizing that I'm not responsible for producing it.
Let's go. Come on.
I'm responsible for taking care of it. And if I take care of it, I can be blessed by receiving more of it.
There we go. He's gonna put it in capable and willing hands, right?
Period. But we've been bought into this thing of I gotta own it. I gotta think.
Yeah.
A rich guy told me, he says, I would rather be the silent owner of it than the bold face of it. Meaning, it's not how many people know you got a thing. It is your ability to understand that the power is in the stewarding of the thing.
Yeah.
God owns all of the things. Now, if we really believe that, and this works too for non-believers, right? So we can take this out of the secular. The reality is, it's not yours. I'll prove to you it's not yours. As rich as you are, as rich as somebody is, let them go buy a piece of land, right? Let them go buy a piece of land. Let them put a house on that land. And they put that house on the land and then stop paying taxes. And you stop paying taxes on that land, you're going to learn how fast that ain't yours. And it won't matter if that's a $200 million house or a $1,000 shanty shack.
Kenny, why you out here hurting our feelings, man? You made that thing so practical, we can't even ignore it now, even if we wanted to.
I'm just telling you. So you are a steward. You are not an owner.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching the video portion or the video file version of this podcast, you will see that Kenny has gray hairs in his goatee and he refuses to dye them. Now, I said that I was going to refuse to dye mine as well, but the opposite might be true. I might go in and spray paint all of my stuff gray just so they can say, man, he must be as wise as Kenny Donnell because he's around here looking the part, man. And you mentioned that you are of the age. You have the benefit of being 53. So you have seen some things in the past. You've experienced them. So we don't have to talk about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You sit here and talk about the God of Kenny, yes, right? And that firsthand experience. So I do want to pivot. And instead of looking back, what's ahead for Kenny Donnell and everything that you're doing? What are the visions that you can share, right? Because not everything is for everyone. Yes. But what's next?
So I am.
Hang on, ladies and gentlemen.
People know me.
Hang on. Here we go.
I am big on technology. I am big on getting in front of understanding technology. I got introduced to a gentleman that knows how to put the back end of these AI and create AI agents and all these technology pieces, how to make it all work together. So him and I are collaborating to create a system that will allow business owners to automate 80 to 90% of their marketing, advertising, follow-up, and database in one system. So right now, I'm using a multitude of different AI systems, the Chat GPTs, the Lovables, the Aceable, the Class, the Go High Level. I'm using all these different platforms to come to an outcome. Well, I'm working with this guy where we're going to launch here in the next 3 or 4 months, one system that will do it all. And then we're going to make that thing affordable. See, we're going to take the Walmart, Amazon approach. Right.
Come on, sir.
We're going to make that thing affordable to the masses because every business owner, small or large, doesn't matter, is going to be impacted by AI. And you can't put your head in the sand, but it's hard to identify who is really guiding me right, who is telling me correctly, what do I really need in order to pull this off. And I know that in the coming years, there'll be more platforms like that. The all-in-one product solution is coming out there We want to be on the front face of it. And so I'm always, man, I'm always looking for ways to help the business owner, the wannabe entrepreneur, the part-time person figure out how to give themselves a competitive edge. We won't compete against Amazon. Like, that's $1 billion corporation, right?
Right.
You're not going to take out these big boys. Now, you may be blessed enough to become a big boy, but you're not going to take the big boy out. But the majority of business is small, medium-sized businesses anyway.
So, Kenny, right there in your book, you talk about from employee to boss, right? The mindset. Some of our audience have just heard you say that you're using AI and that you're going heavy into it, and then it's going to be all brought into this one platform. And they're like, man, I don't want to support this dude. He's going to make my job obsolete. What do you say to that limited thinking person and who might be afraid, right? Because some of our audience, they might have done very well and they might be on the, like, we're just resistant to change. What do you say to that person who is like, oh, I liked Kenny up until about 45 seconds ago when he said that he's on the side of the robot aliens that's going to make me obsolete? What do you say to them?
I say dinosaurs are extinct. So you can choose to be a dinosaur.
Man, I thought the worst thing you were gonna say was that you like country music. Now you calling all my people dinosaurs. Come on, hey, ladies and gentlemen, don't be a brachiosaurus, whatever it is.
Listen, you can choose to be a dinosaur and act like you can stop this wave, but you cannot stop this wave. It is here and it is expanding. AI, I'm glad you asked this question. AI is only going to put people out of work who refuse to learn how to use it, right? But if you understand how to use it, then you begin to craft your brand story. You begin to craft your ability, because somebody's got to feed it. Somebody's got to manipulate it. Someone's got to control it. And if you're sitting there waiting, I was coaching an agent 3 days ago, and they were talking about their strategy. Now, this agent used to close 80 to 100 deals a year. And this is the first year, like, they're struggling. Now, struggling for them is like 35, 40 deals, right? It's still
it's all relative. Somebody like 30 to 40, like, man, our struggle is 6.
You know what I'm saying?
There are levels of struggle, ladies and gentlemen.
But my coaching to them was, you're using outdated strategy, right? This worked 5, 6 years ago. This does not work in 2025. So you can't be afraid of AI. What you have to do is learn how to use AI to your advantage. So if I'm let's say I'm a website designer, and I'm used to designing websites by hand, and now Lovable is out here and other platforms that can do websites in 30 seconds, then I need to pivot. I can still be a website design company, but now if I learn how to use this platform, this system, not only do I cut my costs, I increase my profits, because now I can get more done in less time. So learn how to use the platform, create your own offer within it, now combine it with your experience, and you win it.
We winning big too, sir.
So we thinking like, it's going to cut my job out. Yeah, if you still decide that you want to use Adobe and all these other platforms to design.
Hey, Adobe, hold on. Adobe, if anyone from Adobe is listening to Kenny Donnell, the thoughts and views of Kenny Donnell are not the thoughts and views.
I'm just tearing up all your sponsorship. And mine too, apparently.
Hey, nah. So, but this is where, like, the transparency and the truth are required and necessary. Now, I want to just take a little side note here. Because what you're sharing, where do we go if we don't know who to listen to, right? Maybe the audience, they're at this space where, yes, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to have the mindset from employee to boss. Mm-hmm. I want to do this thing where I level up and I don't become a dinosaur. I don't want to be a T-Rex trying to type, right? But there's so much there are so many voices, so much chatter, so much noise. You mentioned earlier that with the platform that you're going to be a partner with and creating, that is going to be a single source, but then also it's going to be reputable. It's going to be affordable. Like, we don't know who to listen to. So how do we know what's good, what's bad? Do we just jump in and start anywhere? Do we just pay someone? Mm-hmm. What would your advice be specifically to that entrepreneur who doesn't want to be obsolete, besides visiting Kenny Donnell and getting some of his coaching, of course? What else do we do?
There are a lot of voices out there. There's some really, really good voices out there that are really good at marketing and drawing your visual appeal on social media and telling you about they made 120 in 30 days, pay me $5,000 and I'll show you how to do it. Right. There's some amazing, understand when you see that, that's today's advertising. That is marketing today. Understand that before you go and drop their $1,000, $5,000, $6,000. That is an ad that creators have been paid to create to entice you to pay. Let's just understand what it is. I'm not shooting it down. I just want you to be aware of what it is. That's not a common, everyday, normal person. Okay, so let's break through that. Now, the way that I do it, because I'm in the same boat as you, there's voices everywhere. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, blah, 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 lay it out. What I do is I work through the top 5 or 10 people that are actually dropping some information. I follow those 5 or 10 people, and then I don't sign up for anything that's going to cost me money for at least.
Hold on, wait. Hold on, Kenny. Like, dude, you're in a position where, like, man, what do you mean? You're telling me that you're not doing trials and you're not going to do, like, dude, you're just paying first. No, you're not doing that. Even someone who has achieved what you're achieving, you didn't get there by being a fool. Go ahead, keep talking to us, sir.
I'm not signing up for anything for 6 months. I'm following them for 6 months. I'm gleaning the content. I'm learning. They might drop the name of a tool. I go to YouTube. Let me look this, like Poppy AI. I saw Poppy AI the other day, and I said, let me go look Poppy AI. And I watched YouTube videos and people talking about it. And what I'm looking for are honest voices. See, I don't listen to people that have nothing but positive to say about a system, because no system is 100% perfect. Not one. Not one. So if everything this person is saying is all the positives of the system, it's usually somebody paid to say it. I'm looking for voices that are giving me honesty about the pluses and the minuses of a platform, an AI tool, the challenges that come with it. Those are the voices, because that's how I do real life people. Right? People who just say positive things, that's a yes man. I don't need yes men in my organization. I know what's going right. Tell me some of the challenges.
Kenny said, I see the good stuff. I need to know what I'm blinded to.
I need to know what I'm blinded to. And so when you're looking at trying to cut through the noise on social media, and because these advertisers are so good in using these influencers to create content to get you to move and motivate, and using the psychology behind it that pulls on your need, your lack, and your desire, and next thing you know, you got a mortgage due or a rent due or a car note due, and you're sacrificing everything to go get this thing because it told you in 30 days you can make $50,000, and now you out of a house. Stop.
Hey.
Follow these people for 6 months. Pick 5 to 10 that are constantly posting on things that you want to do. Follow for 5 to 6 months. Take notes of the pluses and minuses, and then decide if it's enough value in that time frame. But here's what you're going to find out. You're going to find out in a time frame that you pretty much haven't figured out a really good roadmap on putting together the thing that you want to do. You've done enough research on the systems and the tools to do it that you probably won't even need their system. Because when you buy the system, I'm going to tell you what's in the system. What's in the system is a bunch of wonderful psychological warfare, mindset shift changes. Listen, and I got courses, people. So I'm just pulling you behind the veil. Mindset shift changes.
I'm right there with you, Kenny. Let's go. Pull back the veil, homie.
And then a few tight things that's going to still have you doing the work. You're still going to have to do the work. So if you can grab hold to the systems and you can find somebody that is honest with you on the pluses and minuses, that's somebody worth investing in. That's somebody.
But hold on, Kenny, right there. But you're talking 5 or 6 months. That requires more of me than I want to give.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I want the 30-day deal. So are you telling me that if I'm not committed to putting in this 5 to 6 months of research and the follow, then the 30-day thing isn't going to work anyway?
No, it's not. It's the needle in the haystack. Are there some outliers that found success? 100%. There's some outliers that found success. What you typically find is those outliers that found success usually already have a following of people that know, like, and trust them. And so then if they've introduced a new product or a new thing that's out there and they sell it, they have a ready built audience for it. Most of us are starting from scratch. People don't know us, don't understand us. We can't even shoot videos right. We can't get our lighting right. Can we be real? Most of us are starting from scratch. And so we go and we buy these courses and these things like, oh, I'm going to sell this. And then it's crickets. And you're like, why is there crickets? It's because nobody know you. So we just got to keep it real for a minute. I'm going to save somebody some money today. Somebody
Hey, come on, man. Hey, don't y'all buy anything. So I will say this. Do not buy anything until you go in and follow Kenny, right? Because here's what in my research, fortunately, I get exposed to new people. And so I have just gone down the Kenny Donnell rabbit hole, and it has helped me in my business, in my mindset, in my thinking, and my execution. Right. So I already knew that you were going to say, hey, go in and do some research. Don't you pay for anything without you doing your homework. And then you are going to come to some realizations. And you have absolutely saved some people money today. This guy right here. Kenny, I want to be respectful of your time, but I do have a couple more questions for you. I know that you are an ambitious guy, that you are chasing after these visions, that you're walking them out, that you're doing something with that thing that God has shown you and charged you with. How do you do all of this and still have time for family, still maintain your sanity, still have time to smile when people say, hey, Kenny, and you're like, leave me alone. No, that's not you. Like, so we hear this thing called work-life balance. I don't know if that's a thing, but how do you balance everything that you're doing? And even if it's not you, someone like you at your level, how do we balance maybe thinking like an employee to thinking like a boss, right? Making that move from employee to boss, from being a stressed out parent to wanting to be this entrepreneur. How do we play both sides of that and wear all of these hats?
Yeah. Okay. So first, just Kenny believe there's no such thing as work life balance, right?
I agree with you, sir.
It is
Come on.
constant counterbalance. So there's going to be times where your business is the baby. Your business is the baby. It needs what it needs. It wants what it wants, and you got to give it to it, right? And there's going to be times where you have to shift, and your family is needing things that you have to give to it. So the way that you work it through is you have to give yourself room to shift when you need to shift. So when you're starting out, unless you got a big bankroll, you're everything, right? You are everything, right? And so what you have to become super organized down to before Sunday hits, I know what my week looks like. Now I've been doing this before I had a team of people. I plan out my week before Sunday hits. And in my week, my calendar looks like this. The most important things get done in the first part of the day. Period. Most important, first part of the day. The rest of the things I need to do that I have to do get structured and sprinkled in through the remaining of the day. I try not to schedule anything longer than an hour. So if I'm learning a new system, I'm exploring whatever, it's 30 to 45 minutes of my focus. And then I walk away from it. I give myself a mental break, 10, 15 minutes before I start the next thing. So when I'm done with my day, I never get through my whole list. The goal is not to complete the list. My list is too long. The goal is to complete the most important things that have to be done that day.
Come on, preach,
Everything
boy.
else gets moved. And now that I have people, I can designate, right? I can designate the things too that still have to get done. It doesn't have to get done by me. But when it was just me, that's how I begin to structure my life so that I can pivot and shift into the different hats, the daddy hat, the entrepreneur hat, the learner hat, the coach hat, the student hat, right? I still have coaches, right? So you're constantly moving through these positions and you got to give yourself freedom. So my schedule never looks like 9 to 10 this, 10 to 11 that, 11 12 this, 12 to 1 that, 2 to 3, because I don't have time to use the bathroom. Like that ain't realistic. That ain't gonna work. I'm not gonna keep doing that, right? You got to leave these gaps in here to eat, be healthy, go to the restroom. All these things have to be moving in there. And the way that I coach people, especially a lot of people that I do deal with, sometimes they're part-time entrepreneurs, and so they have to work according to what their full-time job gives them leniency to do that time they have after.
Yes,
So
sir.
for them, it becomes very important to identifying What is the most important stuff that has to get done? Let's put that on the schedule, and then let's adjust these goals, because a lot of part-time entrepreneurs have full-time entrepreneur goals. And then they're struggling because they're like, I'm not reaching this goal. Yeah, because you don't have a realistic goal. You don't have 8 hours, but you got an 8-hour goal. It's not going to work. We got to adjust this thing to accommodate the need.
So, Kenny, so much of what you say is common sense, but it isn't common practice, right? When we hear someone else say it, we're like, oh, okay, yeah, now it makes sense. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why Kenny Donnell makes the big bucks. He breaks it down for the simplest amongst us to understand and to implement. Now, we're going to do a quick rapid fire section, some fun stuff. Look, see, yeah, let's go. But before we do that, is there anything that you want to share with the audience? And you all heard Kenny say that he doesn't usually schedule anything for more than an hour. So we are indebted to Kenny Donnell today for on his birthday, third birthday, him hanging out with us for an hour and 12 minutes so far. Kenny, is there anything that you want to say to the audience on your birthday? Because I know that we are better for it. And you, as the birthday boy, have given us the gift of time, energy, knowledge, and experience. So I want to thank you for that beforehand. But anything you want to share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Two things. One, I just want to encourage everybody. I personally realize that it's easy to talk about success. It's easy to throw out bullet points and strategies and systems and encouragement. And this is the easy stuff. I realize that actually doing it is challenging. Yeah. And so what I want to encourage everybody to do is to get somebody in your ear that encourages you when you just don't have the strength to encourage you no more. Because we all get to that point, whether it is a person on YouTube or TikTok, whatever it is, that voice, a pastor, a public speaker, motivated, well, whoever it is, a song, get something in your ear that speaks life into you when you don't have the moments to speak life to yourself. That's one. And it's okay to do that. Two, I have a free resource, guide.employeetoboss.com. So if you don't want to buy the book, don't spend $19.99 plus shipping and handling. That's cool. Don't worry about it. I got you. Right? Guide.employeetoboss.com. It's free. It is the guide of the principles within the book that start to lead you down the path to identify the thing that you can create that will help you move forward to building the life you want. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. And that is going to be in the show notes, ladies and gentlemen. But Kenny, while I have you, would you go ahead and tell people where they can find the book From Employee to Boss?
I'll make it super easy. Employeetoboss.com.
Hey, come on, listen. That's why Kenny makes the big bucks. Tell us one more time, Kenny, for the people in the back.
Employeetoboss.com. All you got to do is remember the title. If you can remember the title, you good. Employeetoboss.com. You can get the book.
Man, there is something valuable about simplicity. I tell you, it is a beautiful thing indeed. Mr. Kenny Donnell, 53 years young today. Are you ready to have some fun here?
I guess so. This is going to be the hardest part. Rapid fire. All right, let's go.
Rapid fire. Super simple. Now, you are not legally obligated to answer any of these questions. Let's be very clear there.
Okay.
So this is of your own free will. Favorite color?
That's got to be white.
Okay. Favorite food?
Ooh, barbecue.
What style of barbecue? Oh, are you in Texas?
I am.
Ah, so you one of those. Y'all out there. Come on, man. So y'all don't. Okay, so do you have a hate against like barbecue sauce? I know for y'all, like everything is rubbed and smoked and like so do you like barbecue sauce or not?
I like.
You don't like it smothered and dripping? Ladies and gentlemen. Okay, now hold on. Now let's ask this. When Kenny Donnell is at the family function, when he's at the barbecue, is he eating or is he on the grill?
Man, I want to eat, but I'm on the grill.
So you're nice. You're that guy.
Yeah. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Cause see, listen, here's the truth. I'm on the grill because I probably pay for the meat. So if you got a problem with the way the meat is prepared, then you can either pay for the meat or you sit down and eat. Right. But I'm nice on it. I'm nice on it. Like but I'm just saying that's just me.
Why am I not surprised that you're one of those that anything that you can control, you are going to control the outcome of it, right? This, and no wonder he puts the sauce on the side. So when you're preparing and you're the grill master and you see someone asking, "Hey, y'all got some barbecue sauce?" and they dousing it. Well, see, your face says everything.
I mean, you can do it. Like, eat it how you want to eat it. It's yours. I'm just saying it don't need it.
Okay. All right. There, hey, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. If this thing don't work out, well, if all of these things that Kenny has doesn't work out, we might see him as a pit boss somewhere at the.
There's a gifting. Now, Neil, I told you I played football, basketball. I said I was in between athlete, right? So I can feed you and you will like it. But now, if I say, Neil, pay me $20 for it,
different expectations, right? There are levels to the barbecue.
Levels to it. Exactly.
So Kenny, that reminds me. People are like, Neil, you're funny. I'm like, that's because the jokes are free. Like if you had to pay and then there was a 2-drink minimum, Neil ain't so funny now. All of a sudden, levels. All right. So good stuff. Now that we know a little bit more about Kenny Donnell, employee to boss.com. Make sure you go there. Superman or Batman?
Neither.
Who?
Neither one. None of them. Neil, I've never been a comics dude, man, or the Marvels. I don't even know the difference between these things. Like, I know who they are.
But you don't know Marvel Universe, DC. You would lose your money if you had to bet on.
So when I see a man flying, I'll pick one. Pick one. When I see a Joker flying, I'll pick one.
So I'm afraid to ask the next question because you man.
I'm about to lose the people that will follow me.
So now you might have to answer this on behalf of your daughters. Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny?
My kids don't know who that. My 25-year-old would know. My kids don't know who that is, so they'd have to say Mickey Mouse because they don't know, but they don't know Bugs Bunny, man.
Are you serious?
Kennedy's 25 years, she'd know, so they'd have to say Mickey Mouse. The other two, they don't know Bugs Bunny.
Now, we talk about legacy, and this legacy that Kenny Donnell is leaving. Are you comfortable with your kids not knowing who Bugs Bunny is, man?
Until Bugs Bunny puts some money in my pocket. See, here's the problem. We know Mickey Mouse, we know Bugs Bunny, we know Superman, but we don't know accounting, profit and loss, sheet, P&L, the difference between revenue and profit. Like, we know the wrong stuff.
Come on, let's go, brother.
I'm just saying, and I like entertainment. Don't get me wrong. Be entertained, but be educated.
Be educated first. Be educated, and then once you're educated enough, you can focus on the entertainment in doses. Man, you're going to make me change all my rapid fire questions because you make a brother think too hard with your responses, Kenny. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to keep trying this. Okay, so one talent that you don't have that you wish you did.
Neil, I wish I was really good at baseball. Dude, that's guaranteed. That's guaranteed money. That's guaranteed money and everything about money. But I'm just saying, if you asking me, if I was really good at baseball, guaranteed money, not as much liability physically as football, right? And a nice lifestyle where when I retire, I can still function and I don't have I have to worry about CTEs and broken knees and all this stuff. Man, I would love to have been better at being able to see the ability to hit that ball. Boy, that would be a great talent for me.
So if that is a talent you wish you had, what was the gap? Why wasn't that? Was it the speed? Was it just exposure to the game? Why are we not talking to Kenny Donnell, retired MLB player today?
I had no real passion behind it that I was willing to sacrifice to be good at it. Right. I loved the game, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice to be great or good at it. And that's where most of us sit. We see things like, "Ooh, I could do that," or "I would want to do that." And then it comes time for the sacrifice. And we're like, I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to put in that sacrifice. Right. If I was willing to sacrifice, then I would have been great at something in one of those
Then
areas.
this conversation is different if you were passionate and were willing to sacrifice.
Yep.
And then know what you're getting. Your favorite book, sir, what is it?
Employee to boss.
Hey, no hesitation.
Was that good? Was that good? That's good.
Hey, you know what? Now, I'm going to tell you something. I have had dozens of authors on here and they never say their book. And I'm like, well, I'm always, if somebody asks me, that's where I'm going. But I'm like, oh, your book must not be good if it's not your own favorite.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why you got a book out there that's not your favorite book? That's my favorite book right there. Employeeboss.com. Get the free guide.Employeeboss.com. That's my favorite book right there. Now, I can say the Bible because I do love the Bible, but this right here.
But I ask you, and you telling us your favorite book, Employee to Boss.
Boss.com. Go get it.
Employeetoboss.com.
$19.99,
all right.
$9.99 shipping, handling, international.
See, there we go. Keep it super simple, man. That's what he's doing. Keep it super simple. Last question for you. Best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I ever received was in a question. So I was in a corporate training session, just got hired on to this company. We're in this training session, a group of all the new people, and the trainer pulls me aside because he recognized like I was hungry. Like I was hungry. I was working, I was studying, I was doing all the stuff I need to do. He pulls me aside. He says, "You could be great, but what do you want?" Now at that point I was about 28, 29, somewhere in there. And I didn't know how to answer that question because I didn't know what I wanted. And I literally sat with that question for years. I am now 24 years removed from that question, and I still remember that question. What do you want? And what he was saying was, you have to sit down and make a decision and then figure out a direction so you can be determined in your actions to receive your goals. But you can't do anything until you decide, what do you want?
Man, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that y'all are as mind blown as I am so I don't look like the only dummy in here. But Kenny Donnell, man, for a man of 53, you have centuries of knowledge, wisdom. I am indebted to you. Thank you for accepting the invitation. I know my audience is better for it, but selfishly, I know that I am better for it, and I am blessed to be connected to you and with you. Ladies and gentlemen, employeetoboss.com. Make sure you go and get the book. All of Kenny's contact info, his handles are going to be in the show notes. Make sure you pause, go and get connected with Kenny, because as we saw today, there are not many who are willing to share, be transparent, but also be as helpful as Kenny was here today. So on behalf of Kenny Donnell, on behalf of employeetoboss.com, go get the book. Spend the $19.99 and the $9 shipping and handling. You'll be better for it. I want to remind you that we love you, God loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And until the next time you see us or we see you, don't be average, be world renowned. Peace.
Peace. I love it.